This is Goku Sun DBZ, and today I'm doing a special video in celebration of my favorite thrash metal band slash favorite metal band, that being of course Ice Earth, which in the past I did top 10 Ice Earth songs. So today I'm going to be even though it's going to be called best to worst, I'm going to be actually going backwards, ranking in order the 12 studio albums of Ice Earth and where I position my own personal opinion. And I'll say starting at 12, going up to number 1, which I think is the best. I will also give basic info like the name of the album, of course, the number, which album number it is, as well as the year it was released. Starting off, coming in at number 12 is the album Ice Earth, which is their debut album. It was released in 1990, though the band actually started in 1985. It would be 1990 before they would release their first full normal studio album with, I forget the frontman's name, which he was only with the band for the very first album. And not really a fan of the vocals and style of that particular vocalist, which is why it's in dead last place for me personally. And you can tell there's definitely a lot of room to grow. I prefer the remaster of some of the songs from the first and second albums because I liked who remastered them, which is my favorite frontman of the band. Coming in at number 11 is their first of two normal studio albums that Ice Earth would release with, at that time, the frontman Tim the Ripper Owens, which prior to Ice Earth for 2 albums did music with Judas Priest, while of course the original frontman was not with the band at the prior time. The name of the album at 11 is called The Glorious Burden. It was their 7th studio album, released in 2004, and it was a concept album. The concept of the album was the Civil War, interestingly enough, Gettysburg. That was the concept for the album, and you could tell from the front album artwork. Coming at number 10 is actually the second album done by the band, which had another, like the first album, had a frontman that would only be around for that one specific album, though I do think it's a couple steps up in quality from the first album. So I'm not the biggest fan of that specific vocalist, but still a lot better than the first. The name of the album is called The Night of the Storm Rider, and as I said, it's the second album from the band. It was released in 1991, just 1 year after the debut album. Coming at number 9 is an album done by my favorite frontman of all time with the band, and that is, of course, Matt Barlow. It was another concept album. It was their 6th studio album, and the concept was like vampires, werewolves, werewolf, as I said, the Mummy, Frankenstein, which explains the name of the album. It was called Horror Show, and yeah, it was a monster concept album devoted to the ancient, scary creatures of the night from classic horror films. It was released in 2001. It would be the last album for a little while from Matt Barlow. The next 2 albums after would be done by Tim Owens. Coming in at number 8 is the album that would see the return of Matt Barlow. This is their 9th studio album. It was the second of a 2-album concept about the storyline called the Something Wicked story arc. It was, as I said, it was done by Matt Barlow as the frontman. It is called Something Wicked Part 2, The Crumble of Man. comes in at number 8. There are specific songs that really stand out to me of songs from that album, like Harbinger of Fate, or songs such as Birth of the Wicked Child, and A Gift or a Curse are 3 particular songs that stand out to me from this specific album. Coming in at number 7 is the debut album, actually, of Matt Barlow. It would get a different cover for later, but I still have the original cover of the album. I have a couple of albums to show you what it looks like. It would be their, as I said, 3rd studio album. It was released in 1995. It was also a concept album, revolving around like hell and stuff. And there's one specific awesome piece of music at the end of the album. It's a 16-minute piece, or rather masterpiece, which tells the story of Dante with Dante's Inferno. And the name of the album is called Burnt Offerings. But nevertheless, really good album, honestly. And you can tell it used a lot of old style artwork and stuff with the whole concept and everything of Dante's Inferno, which is one thing I like about them, paying attention to details. Now, coming in at number 6 would be the second of 3 studio albums now from the current frontman of the band, which is Stu Block, formerly the frontman of the death metal band from England called Into Eternity, which did 3 songs with that specific album. Anyways, with that said, also, this album is their 11th studio album. And it is called Plagues of Babylon. Released in 2014, would be their previous album, of course. Awesome album. Love the artwork and cover. It's honestly really awesome. Sadly, can't really show it off because of the stupid shiny cases. Awesome, awesome cover art. So one thing I give to Ice Earth, they always have really good cover artwork. But definitely the song Plagues of Babylon really stands out to me above anything else off the album. Hands down the best song off the album. But usually a lot of the songs titled after the album tend to be pretty good, strong songs. It's about 7.5 minutes or so long. An incredible masterpiece, and one easily probably my top 3 or top 5 favorite songs of all time from the band. That comes at number 6. Coming in at number 5 would be the debut album of Stu Block. It was released in 2011. It was their 10th studio album called Dystopia. Just an awesome, in general, amazing album. A very different formula. It wasn't an overall concept album, where, of course, Plagues of Babylon was a concept album. Still really good and very enjoyable. I highly recommend you check out Dystopia, which, it was kind of annoying that Megadeth kind of copied their album title. But this was the first Dystopia album. But I had really good songs on it. Other than the song Dystopia, you also had Anguish of My Youth, as well as Triumph. I'm trying to remember the exact name of the song. But it has some really good music overall. I highly recommend the album. Coming in at number 4 is their newest studio album, which was just released a few days ago, actually. Surprisingly, it's not a concept album, which is kind of weird. Though it does have some interesting songs, like you have, like, the first song was basically, I guess you could say, sort of like medieval times, and the second song is about pirates. No surprise given the name of the song is called Black Flag. But it is interesting that each tells a different story of like a different time period, though we see still the Dark Messiah. Oh wait, not Dark Messiah, but the ancient dead Pharaoh, of course. The ancient one. Awesome artwork, very similar artwork style to actually their last album, Plagues of Babylon. But the album is called Incorruptible, their 12th studio album, released, of course, 2017. Really good overall album, and I highly recommend you check out the album. Coming in at number 3 is their second album with, at that time, frontman Tim the Ripper Owens, which is my favorite album from him. Coming at number 3, it was their 8th studio album. It was released in 2007, 10 years ago. And it was part 1 of the 2-part concept of the Wicked saga. It was called Something Wicked Part 1, Framing Armageddon. And the song Framing Armageddon was kind of banned from different countries and from a lot of radio stations in selected states in the U.S. Mainly because it attacked and talked about the story that extraterrestrial life is using religion to divide the people of the Earth, being manipulated by extraterrestrials. And that's the overall concept of the albums. Like in this one, it talks about like ancient Egypt and stuff being manipulated and controlled by extraterrestrials. So if you're into that whole ancient aliens or into stories and stuff from like Edgar Casey about theories on extraterrestrials playing a major role in ancient Egypt, I think you'll really enjoy these concept albums of the Something Wicked saga. Coming in at number 2 is the very first album I ever owned from the band. It would be the third studio album from, at that time, Matt Barlow. It's called Something Wicked This Way Comes. And the Something Wicked would add on to the story arc from the 3 last normal songs on the normal version of the album, unless you get the special edition album, which I have. Really good. It was released in 1998, and specifically the song above all others that stand out to me on this album is Prophecy. Then Birth of the... was it Wicked Child or something like that? Or Birth of the Wicked. Then you just have so many good songs. You have an awesome instrumental with great guitar riffs done called 1776. But coming in at number 1, the 4th studio album, second album with Matt Barlow, concept album, based on my favorite anti-hero from comic books of all time, Spawn. It would be a concept album about the story of Spawn, and the cover art was even done by Todd McFarlane himself. This album, released in 1996, it's called The Dark Saga. I'll take it out so you can see it better, the artwork. And it's awesome what they did with the album. They even made it look like a record, which is kind of cool. And here it is. As we see Spawn right on the cover. That is an awesome cover art right there. And just in general, really good as it shows lyrics. You get to see more good artwork. And that is my list, personal ranks of the worst to best Ice Earth songs in honor of their new 12th album that just came out, being my favorite thrash band of all time. I felt it was only right I do this in honor of the band. And if you want to get some with like a collection of some of their music combined, remastered, I recommend get before they stop selling this. This is a special re-released collection album, which you can get for not too bad a price, or at least when I got it anyways. But you have some awesome stuff here, like some different remasters like Enter the Realm, Colors, Nightmares, Curse of the Sky, Solitude, Iced Earth. Then you have songs like Creatures of the Night, which this includes a special, actually, I'm thinking of the cover album. Also, it includes a special thing. They did some covers like Creatures of the Night, Number of the Beast, Highway to Hell, Burning for You, God of Thunder, Screaming for Vengeance, Dead Babies, City on Flame, It's a Long Way to the Top, Black Sabbath, and Hallowed Be Thy Name. And it's definitely awesome. Get a chance, check out some of these songs. I highly recommend you search here on YouTube for some of their stuff. But anyways, I'll get back with you soon, and I may work on a future album review for their new album. And also, if you all be interested, I can even work on a review of Dark Saga, the Spawn concept album. Just leave a comment below and let me know what your opinion is, and if you'd like to know more about this. But I'll see y'all next time. And I'm working on top 10 normal lists today, as well as a top 5 for next week, top 5 fighters list. Another generation of top characters from the fighting game franchise. Since I already did Generation 1 of Dead or Alive, we'll see what happens next time. See you again soon enough.